Commissioner Rule, Alder, and Hanson, you guys are up. Thank you for joining us today.
Welcome everyone. Good afternoon. We want to thank you for joining us this day. This is pretty exciting for the county to be over here at the Nampa Chamber. And we want to thank the Nampa Chamber Board, especially Debbie Kling and Don for putting this together for us. This is really exciting. There are a number of people we should recognize here from the county today. So before we get really into it, I'd like to ask, would the county elected officials stand that are here? Come on up, stand up. Here we got Assessor Gene Kuhn, Clerk Yamamoto, Sheriff Donahue, Tracy Lloyd, the Treasurer, Coroner Vicki DeGoyce, last and definitely not least, Brian Taylor, our prosecuting attorney. Thank you all, gentlemen. And they really do deserve a round of applause because they're a big part of the machine. The things that we've been able to do this past several years couldn't be done without their hard effort and good leadership. Now we'd like to, any county department heads that are here with us today. That would be like, there we go. Here are the people that are really on the ground working too, and I won't go through and name everybody, but please give them a round of applause. They are awesome. We have a number of county employees joining us today. Would the rest of you county employees please stand? There's a lot of the rest of the machine right there. If you come through the county or it's buildings, you're going to see these people a lot working hard. Okay, there's some other important people with us here today that the county feels very strongly about, and that's the mayors of our cities. Would the mayors of our Canyon County cities please stand? Mayor Henry, Mayor Bechtel from Wilder, Brad Holton from Greenleaf. Thanks for coming, gentlemen. We really appreciate it. This has been a very interesting past several years for me. I've been in office for a while, and I've really learned how the county machine works, how the tax base fits the needs of the county, and how in some places it doesn't fit because there's not enough money, but department heads, elected officials, they make it work anyway. And that is what I really want to touch on today, is how well this works. I want to tell you today that the state of the county is very, very good. We have a balanced budget and have for years. Our fund balances are strong. We are able to do some building without raising property taxes. That takes good leadership. That takes a lot of cooperation through a lot of different ways, but it's happening at Canyon County. There's a pie chart, I hope is up, that you'll take a look at that illustrates the source of our funding. You'll see that 49% of our budget is supported by property taxes. The next highest is 17%, and that's fund balance. There's services and fees, and if you'll go on through there, you'll see what this is the source of funding that we're able to try and take care of county business with. Now here's another one showing where your money is being spent. And as you can see, almost half of our budget is dedicated to public safety, which is and will continue to be one of Canyon County's top priorities. This includes the sheriff, all his efforts, jail, which has problems. There are things that need to be improved with the jail situation in Canyon County. The prosecuting attorney, the public defender, dispatch and emergency communication, juvenile detention, misdemeanor probation. There are a lot of ways that these monies have to be distributed. The next largest in general government services, things like our assessor, our clerk, our treasurer, our coroner, our information technologies department. These are all services that are necessary for our operations to provide the services to the county that are mandated under Idaho law. Again, we all know these past several years, the tax revenues have decreased millions of dollars. And all of these people, not just commissioners, all of these department heads and elected officials have kept things ticking with a lot less money. Now, building and revenues are starting to come back a little bit. And that's helping us fix some of the spots where we may have cut too far. I want to give a lot of credit where it's due, and that's to the clerk and controller, Chris Yamamoto and Zach Wagoner. We can only make decisions, we administer the budget. We can only make decisions based on good information that these gentlemen provide. Tracy Lloyd's a big part of that. So it's very important that the portions of our budget go toward things like indigent care, parks and recreation, animal shelters, county fairs. Our indigent care fund is one area of a very high concern of ours. Our budget has seen a steady increase over my past 7 years as commissioner. This year, it's over 5% of our total budget. It's something we believe that needs a better funding mechanism here in our state, not just our county, but our state. We are exhorting our legislature to explore options and find one that will fix this problem and not simply keep just putting it on the backs of the county taxpayers and all of us as state taxpayers. Here's a look at some of the larger taxing districts in our county and the difference in dollars they requested from taxpayers over the past 2 years. At the far right, you'll notice that Canyon County actually lowered your property tax budget this year. And I want to touch it again, just how does that happen? Well, the clerk and controller bring a recommended budget or budget options to us. And one of them showed a way to move forward by returning property taxes. The commissioners said, can you return some more? And they went back to work, came back with this proposal, and we were able to work out to return $1.5 million back into the pockets of taxpayers. That lowered your overall property tax budget by over 4%. We were able to lower our levy rate by 11%. This isn't something that counties and cities typically do, and we're very proud of this. And let's see, since we're here in Nampa, here's a pie chart showing where your property tax dollars are going. There's a pie chart for every city over on the table. But since we're in Nampa, here's Nampa's. You can see that half goes to the city of Nampa, followed by 23% to the county, and 17% to the Nampa School District. 2013 was also a year where we really started to show signs of an improving technology. Again, I talked about revenues up. That's because there was some building. That's because there was some industry. This is the result of that activity is revenue. We saw a total of 564 building permits issued, a level that hasn't been seen since before the recession in 2008. The number of permits for new single-family homes almost doubled compared to 2012. We also had close to a 30% rise in permits for industrial, office, or non-residential construction. All good signs. The total value of all the building and mechanical permits was $48.5 million. Early returns on this fiscal year are showing good signs for our economy. It's really beginning to rebound from the recession. The recent announcement by Ventura North America that they will be investing $85 million in the former Micron plant out by the sugar beet factory is fantastic news for all of us here in the county. and Nampa. They are expected to bring more than 230 jobs to the area, not including all the work that will be needed and jobs created to retrofit that facility before those jobs actually take place. You can find more on that website about the jobs themselves. All right, before I turn it over to Commissioner Alder, I want to highlight what I think are some of our biggest accomplishments these past several years. With budgets reduced by millions from 2007 to 2012, leadership maintained all county services, improving building, higher quality of service in all departments despite reduced budgets. Not only did we reduce your property taxes $1.5 million this year, we completely are debt-free as a county. We don't owe a dime to anybody, any organization, and that's a testament to strong leadership. Thank you. We have been and will continue to be good stewards of your tax dollars. And without any further ado, I introduce to you now the Queen of Agriculture in Canyon County, Kathy Alder.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Rule. I do have a name out there, and I'm proud of it. This has really been an exciting year for Canyon County in terms of improvements and changes to our campus in Caldwell. We are in the process of creating a more welcoming environment to our citizens, and we're starting that with our new administration building. To date, construction on the building is about 1/3 of the way complete. We continue to stay on budget and on time, and we're looking at some of the photos of the recent tour of our elected officials, and as you can see, things are moving right along. Once it is completed this summer, the administration building will be the new home for the assessor, treasurer, clerk, Development Services Department, and Indigent Services Department. And beginning next fiscal year, it will also be the home for our new in-house Public Defender's Office. And you'll hear more about that from Commissioner Hanson. We're also working to build a historical art display for the entryway, something that all of our citizens can enjoy. And I strongly believe that the people of Canyon County are proud of their heritage and deep roots in this community. And we want to capture that in an art display that pays tribute to our rich history and our culture. So we're asking any one of you out there, okay? Citizens, businesses, historical groups, to nominate a historical artifact for our historical art display in the new building. They can be photos, documents, family relics, or any other type of artifact that reflects a period of time in Canyon County history. Once we get the nominations, then they will go to our Historical Preservation Committee, and around 15 finalists will be chosen, and they will be on display in our new building. Isn't that exciting? Yes, I love it. All right. Oh, thank you. Okay. And so information is on the board as to how you can nominate something. And we really do want you to do that. Go home, see what you have, and think about it. It's collecting dust, and you really want somebody else to see what part of history you have. So take a picture, send it in to Joe Decker, and it'll be turned over to the committee. Meanwhile, we continue to find ways to save money and to cut costs throughout the construction process of our buildings. And so, as an example, we received 34 pallets of Herman Miller cubicle furniture from the Bureau of Reclamation in Boise at no cost. Bought new, the same furniture would be $20,000. Then we were also able to get another 38 pallets of Herman Miller cubicle furniture from the IRS in Ogden, Utah, through a government surplus site. Go figure. Okay. Our IT development manager, Don Brown, found it on an auction site. Yes, Don. Good job. And we just had to pay to truck it up. So we've gotten about $40,000 worth of furniture for $5,000. So that says a lot. Our facilities department has been hard at work building all the cabinetry and casework for the new building, and this will result in significant cost savings for the county and taxpayers, and we're very lucky to have these skilled craftsmen on board. How fortunate that is for Canyon County. They do an excellent job. Anyone who is really bored late at night and you can't sleep, let me give you something exciting to do. You can go to our website, and on the website you can find a 24/7 construction cam. And you can see a lapse video of the construction. Isn't that exciting? And it should put you to sleep in any time whatsoever. So, we're also going to move along now, and we are halfway through the construction of another courtroom addition project on the Southwest Idaho Juvenile Detention Center. We're expecting to have this new addition open by the end of spring. It will add 2 new courtrooms for Juvenile Detention Center, along with judges' chambers, public restrooms, and a common meeting area for families and detainees. This new addition will improve the efficiency of our criminal justice system and also cut down on the man-hours needed to transport juveniles back and forth to court. I also want to remind you that both of these projects are being done without any additional tax money. The administration building is being financed through the Caldwell Urban Renewal Agency, which we have been paying into for 10 years as citizens of Canyon County, $1.3 million. Then we're just going to get a project out of it because they're going to collect that tax for the next 10 years, and we're going to have a capital investment as a result of that. The juvenile courtroom addition is being paid for with revenues from the State Lottery Commission and court fines that have been collected over the years. So no new taxes for 2 great facilities. Yay! Isn't that wonderful? Okay. Now, if you take a look at the map on your screen, you'll see that there are going to be a lot of new parking lots. Number one, the administration building took up one of our employee parking lots, and now they're walking further. It's part of our wellness program. Okay. But we are going to pave a lot of other parking lots in the area, so you might have to walk a little further, and it's maybe a little more inconvenient, but it really is a good thing, and it's all about health. Okay. Now, moving away from our campus in Caldwell, there are things going along in our Parks and Recreations Department. Last year, between April and October, we had over 9,000 students from the Treasure Valley and beyond who visited Celebration Park and Wilson Springs Nature Area. And this year, for 2014, they are even bigger, and there is a waiting list of teachers who want to come and participate in these field trips. In 2014, the completion of the Canyon Crossroads Transportation Museum at Celebration Park, that is close to Melba. I live, okay. All right, with a new indoor classroom, our field trip season can expand beyond the months of April through October, and waiting lists will become a thing of the past. We've also continued at the parks our strong partnerships with the Idaho universities and colleges, including Boise State, College of Western Idaho, and the University of Idaho. Beyond Celebration Park, Canyon County Parks, in partnership with Idaho Fish and Game, has completed improvements at Martin's Landing, a popular fishing game access that had fallen into a lot of disrepair. Martin's Landing is located west of Parma at the confluence of the Boise Snake and Owyhee rivers. It now offers great outdoor recreation amenities, including 10 RV spaces, one of which is ADA accessible, new restrooms, boat and tent camping spaces on the river, and day-use facilities. That should be exciting, right? Yes, okay. So, if you are not spending your leisure time in Canyon County Parks, this should be a welcoming list to say, come and enjoy. And now I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Hanson, and it won't be near as entertaining. Okay.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Alder, and I again want to thank every one of you for being here because we are a part of truly a partnership. My family moved here about 19 years ago. My kids all went to school here. Randy Haverfield coached my boys in football and various other things. So it's just a great pleasure to actually serve in the capacity that I have, I guess, risen up through the ranks of Canyon County, working for the county for the past 16 years in the sheriff's department, or sheriff's office, and then moving on to the commissioner's office, and I'm enjoying that very much. So anyway, again, thank you for being here. I'm going to talk about a few of the other things that are going on with the some of the other elected officials, the other departments that are here. First of all, I want to start with the prosecution in Canyon County. It's stronger than ever. Our prosecutor, Brian Taylor, has assembled an incredible staff that works tirelessly every day in the name of public safety, as well as facilitating a well-functioning county government. We talk to the attorneys on a regular basis in our civil department to make sure that we're trying to follow the right direction and do things correctly in Canyon County. Each year, Prosecutor Taylor presents to the city councils around the county, updating communities regarding the state of prosecution. According to those reports, you can see that an almost steady rise in the number of cases handled by the prosecutor's office over the past 5 years. And the chart, I believe, is on the screen, which shows you kind of what's going on with those cases. With an increase to population comes also potentially an increase to criminal cases that come forward. If you look specifically at the number of felonies and misdemeanors, you'll notice that the number of felonies prosecuted were slightly up last year, while misdemeanors were slightly down. Despite the increased workload placed upon the prosecutor's office, Brian and his staff have been able to maintain the highest level of dedication, courage, and integrity to assure that our community is safe. Now, the prosecutor's office continues to provide excellent prosecution services to the city of Nampa. I'm going to put in a disclaimer right there. What that disclaimer is that we at the county want to provide the best we can at the lowest cost possible to anyone that's out there, and that is a goal that we have. And we, well, as you can see by the equipment that we've gotten with the Herman Miller office, we're doing the best we can to be frugal in what we do. So anyway, that's just the part. Handling all of their misdemeanors and infractions here in Nampa. Over the past 4 years, this agreement has saved Nampa taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars, $200,000 in contract costs alone. And where that number comes from, just to make sure you understand, the number is based off the contract that P.A. Taylor took on and he replaced. The next closest bid, the year that the county took over that service, was $200,000 more per year than what we do, than what's done through our P.A. This is because the county does not make a profit from this service. They also have the benefit of completely a paperless system, which not only improves efficiency and effectiveness, but also saves untold thousands in paper and transportation costs for the taxpayers of Nampa. Now, we understand Mayor Taylor, and he's doing a great job. Mayor Henry is looking at the other possibilities, which is what he needs to be doing. That's what you elected him to do, and find the best service that he can possibly provide to the citizens here. And he may be going a different route, and that's fine with the Nampa Prosecution Services. But we as the commissioners, on behalf of our prosecutor, we urge the city to stick with the current agreement with the prosecutor's office. The service is excellent, in our opinion, and it is the most efficient and effective prosecution you can receive for the price, and doing anything less would possibly be a disservice to Nampa and the taxpayers. Now, I'd also like, as we move on from that, when I was sitting here with the mayor, I was saying we're not going to talk about anything political today whatsoever. So I just want to make sure that we didn't do that, and make sure that you understand that that's where we're at. We're not going to do that today. But what I would like to go is move on on a positive and higher note on that is our employees. I'd also like to take this moment to recognize Erica Colleen, one of our deputy prosecutors. Erica was recently honored as one of the Idaho Business Review's Women of the Year. She has served as a deputy prosecutor for 9 years and currently supervises the Prosecutor's Special Victims Unit. She has committed herself to become one of the foremost prosecutorial experts on child maltreatment and crimes of abuse in the state of Idaho. Her tenacity in the courtroom and her compassion for children has led to successful prosecution of over 100 criminal defendants in the past 18 months. I'd just like Erica to stand. I see her sitting over there. Now, if we give a round of applause to Erica, I'd appreciate that. Oh, wait a minute, we already done that. Okay, just following my notes. Thank you, Erica. As Commissioner Alder mentioned earlier, we're transitioning to an in-house public defender's office in the coming year. Our goal is to have the position filled by midsummer, so whoever is appointed has time to build their staff and get everything in line for the start of fiscal year on October 1st. We were prepared for this, so we budgeted extra money this year to assist with the transition and to ensure that we don't compromise our current public defender services. I used to run the jail here in Canyon County, and one of the things that I always took into consideration as the administrative director over that, the captain over the jail, was that what if it was one of my family members that happened to be put in incarceration for whatever reason? Because we know we do have that little rule here in our United States, innocent until proven guilty. That's one of those important things. So if something like that were to happen, we want to make sure that they are properly treated, properly taken care of in our jail, and that goes as well for their right to defense in this system that we live in, to make sure that they're not railroaded into a conviction that they shouldn't be. So this is a very important issue for us that is provided by our Constitution. So anyway, we went off that. We decided to make the move after studying the issue and reaching out to a criminal justice planning committee, which is made up of several county stakeholders with regard to county government, the judges, the clerk's office, the sheriff. And they came up with a recommendation that we move to an in-house model. As Kathy noted, the Public Defender's Office will be located in our new administration building. This will no doubt improve efficiency in our criminal justice and help promote the principles of defense as laid out in our Constitution. It will also make for a more accountable and transparent system, which is what our citizens deserve. And I'm one of those citizens, by the way. Still, we strongly believe that public defense is a state responsibility that's laid out in our state constitution, and it has been delegated down to the counties for far too long. The state needs to find a better funding mechanism for it, and we're happy to assist the legislatures in developing a plan so that we can get that properly done. Moving on to some other accolades. It's been an incredible year for Director Steve Jett and his staff over at Southwest Idaho Juvenile Detention Center. Just a few weeks ago, the center became certified as compliant under the standards of the Federal Prison Rape Elimination Act, which is also known as PREA. Now, what's significant about that is that I believe came into law, and it was either 2003 or 2005. 2003, as I'm getting the signal from the back row. 2003, and it became law, and there have been the standards that have been developed over this past period of time. Now, what is really significant about the fact that the Juvenile Detention Center here in Canyon County has achieved this certification? What's really significant is they are the first detention facility of any kind in the entire nation to receive this certification. So I think we need to give the staff, Mr. Steve Jett and his staff, where are they at? There's several here. Please stand up. Please stand up. Everybody, please stand up. Thank you. Yeah, I had the privilege of letting one of the deputy attorney generals know when I was back in Washington a week ago in a PREA conference, a PREA meeting that was taking place there, of letting them know that we were the first state or first facility to have that done, and they hadn't got that information, and she's up there writing, so she's got to go check her facts on that because she oversees PREA. So it was a neat thing for me to ask a pointed question and already have the answer. So anyway, this is a tremendous achievement, and I'm proud of them. But also because it made it the first facility. Okay, and this is also an amazing accomplishment and a testament to their work ethic and everything they're done. Now, some of the other things that go on over there is that this is not just a place where we put juveniles that misbehave or commit a crime and they sit in a cell and that's all we do with them. There's several things that take place, and one of those important things is the Pat Anderson School Garden, which has donated over 6,000 pounds of produce to charity since 2011. So those juveniles over there that do get incarcerated have an outlet for some creative ability and some skills that they're learning, and a part of a team effort that they may not ever have in their current living situation. And it's sad that they have to be incarcerated, but there's a process of training them and helping to get them out of the system if we at all possibly can by what's been going on over there. There's some pictures here on the garden that are being displayed, and these gardens are really good. My garden is now grown over with grass again for the second time, and it's really difficult to keep that done properly. So I can understand what they're going through and what's taking place over there. It couldn't be done without the help of the generous sponsors that donate supplies and materials to make the program a success. So again, this is behind a closed wall, so you can't go in and steal any of the fruits of their labor so that they can properly donate that out to the community. So we're pleased with that. Well, it's also been a successful year, and I'm about done here with my portion, but it's also been a successful year for our problem-solving courts, in particular our Veterans Treatment Court and our Juvenile Drug Court, which both had their first ever graduation ceremonies over this past year. So those are some things that are going on there. And Commissioner Rule already mentioned most of our employees, but the county has, to date, I went to HR today to find out how many employees we have. We have 768 employees today. Now that fluctuates, as you know, in employment. Those of you that run your businesses, that can change tomorrow, and we can have 760, depending upon who decides they're going to find greener pasture somewhere else. But we have 768 employees, which makes the county one of the largest employers for the services that are rendered, and you've seen testament to the good accomplishments that have taken place here through Canyon County and what's going on there. And I know that I rely on all those employees. Some of them at one point were my boss, some of them at one point I was their boss, and now I rely on all of them to do the best job they can so that I don't have to call on my civil attorney again to figure out how we're going to get out of this one. And so it's a very important thing that we continue to look at that. Well, with that, I'm finished, and I'd like to now ask my fellow commissioners, Kathy and Steve, to join me. And we're going to discuss two more topics. We'll read a statement thereabout. But I want you to know that we are pretty much unified in the processes of what's going forward in Canyon County, things that we're working on, and what's happening. So Kathy and Steve, thank you. Hey. This is the combined front, by the way. I know that she probably looks good, better in the center, but I still need the mic for a moment. The Canyon County Fair has been a hot topic of late, so we thought we should address some of the misinformation and the information that's going out there to make sure that you hear it directly from the commissioners and with our support to our fair board. And by the way, there are several members of that fair board here. They volunteer their time to try and bring direction for the county fair, for its multiple events throughout the year and everything that they do. And I'm going to ask them to stand if they would. I know they don't like to be put on the spot, but I would really like them to stand because I think it's very important. Those members that are here, please. There were a few others that couldn't make it today, but I do thank you for your hard work. Anyway, first of all, we like to point out that the total budget for our fair is roughly $375,000, which is less than 1% of our entire county budget. And of that, 2/3 goes towards the salaries and benefits of the 5 full-time employees that are there for the year-round activities. It's a small price to pay for the agricultural and the educational opportunities that it provides for Canyon County children with 4-H and various other programs, let alone the entertainment that it brings for those families that attend the fair each year. The Canyon County Fair will remain in its current location for 2014 and believe through 2015, both for the annual fair and all of its other year-round events. The fair is currently in discussion with the Ford Idaho Center to determine the feasibility of moving the 4-day annual fair to the Nampa-based event center, but we are still waiting cost proposals from the Idaho Center. And it's been several months that we've asked for that to happen. So we are waiting for that to come forward, and it's not here yet. So we can't make any decision on that unless that happens, and we'd like to see that. And it is truly a business decision that has to come forth based on dollars and cents. And moving to the Fort Idaho Center, if moving there is not feasible, we would know what we need to move to the proposed site at 2026 is $10 to $12 million to move that fair to hold the events of the 4-day fair event plus the regular annual events. There's been multiple numbers thrown out there, 40 million, 50 million, 60 million. That is not the case. To move to the 2026 site is $12 million, and that would put up the infrastructure needed to hold the fair and the year-round events that they currently have right now. So I just wanted to get that out there, and what's important about that. And this money, which is important because we want to make sure the correct information out, would be from private donations. 12 million private donations, not an increase of $375,000 that we currently spend through the tax levy for the fair. It's not going to come from there to build the infrastructure for that process. So that needs to be out there because there's been, like I said, a myriad of information being thrown out and about that's coming from who knows where all the time. So we want to make sure that that is correct. More than 45,000 people attend the fair each year, and it is simply outgrowing the current location, especially with the recent addition of the College of Idaho football program, which we as a board support very much that program is coming in. That's a great program. It's going to be great for Canyon County. I don't buy tickets to go to the Boise State games because I can't afford those. I spend more of my time on all my grandkids and all that kind of stuff that's going on. But this may be an outlet where I can grab my grandkids and actually go and be able to afford that with what's going on. Now, what's important, though, with that is C of I still hasn't granted us permission to use Simplot Stadium for concerts this year. And that is something we're waiting to hear from them. And with everything else that's going on right now, we're not sure what's going to happen in the future completely. But we do appreciate our fair board. They're working hard for a capital campaigns project to try and raise the $12 million on one side. And we are still waiting for the Idaho Center to give us some dollars and cents figures because it is a business decision. And I think from everything else that's been proclaimed with the tax base, with what's been going on with the seated board and with Canyon County and things of the past as well, we're very frugal in our spending. And so with that, I'm going to remove myself from this podium and allow Commissioner Alder to speak. And my voice didn't crack as hers did several times, and I'm not sure what that was.
Oh, seriously. Yeah. Oh, thank you very much. You know, we really learned to get along really well. We have a good relationship, actually. I want to talk about Lake Lowell. I think this is something that every one of us in this room care about. And when it comes to the issue of Lake Lowell and the Deer Flat Wildlife Refuge, we remain steadfast in our fight for local oversight and management. And based on the most recent draft of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's Comprehensive Conservation Plan, and after reviewing it with our legal department, we do have serious concerns. Yes, we do. The federal regulations themselves, which may appear reasonable for the time being, are not as troubling as the states' rights issue, and the question of whether any federal regulations are even lawful. Our primary concern has to do with giving the federal government the authority to regulate our use of the waters of Lake Lowell to any degree. We commissioners and our prosecuting attorney's office are still of the firm belief that the federal government has limited authority to regulate the use of our man-made lake created for irrigation purposes. They can certainly administer the refuge lands proper, but the waters of Lake Lowell are not theirs. By allowing the federal government, thank you. By allowing the federal government to regulate Lake Lowell now, we grant the federal government a right they may not actually have, and a foothold that we may not be able to eliminate in the future. Thank you.
A little cleanup on that. We're still waiting for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife to actually release this final draft of the Comprehensive Conservation Plan to the public, or to us in particular. We're anxious to get, and heard we'd get it for months and told we'd be getting it in the near future. Who knows? But I want you to know the county is poised to take legal action to clarify that the federal government does not have that authority to regulate our waters. We urge you all, should this happen, we urge you all to show your support as we fight together to provide our freedom, our heritage here, the heritage we built, and the way of life that we enjoy at our own Lake Lowell. All right, thank you all for coming. That's all for today. Unless there's some questions, just continue to make Canyon County a better place to live and play and raise our families.
So we would like to open it up just for a couple of questions. If there is anyone in the audience that has a question for the commissioners today. Do we have, okay, Trina?